afternoon. Thank you all very much for joining us for this fifth session of the Distance Learning Playbook. I am thrilled today to introduce Christine Hessler, who will be facilitating the session. I think you know the norms, but I'll turn these over to you, Christine, to take it away.
Welcome, everyone. I don't know why my slides, are moving. I didn't want them to move. I wanted to, that's not starting out great. Welcome to the session this afternoon. Today, we're going to be doing two of the modules. Module 2, which is our first day reset at a distance. And again, we kind of thought this would be a good spot to have people, if they have a new semester, new quarter starting, maybe moving to distance learning, just some really good reminders for what we're going to be doing today. Here are our norms, which we developed early in the session, but for those that are new, we have mute yourself, turn your camera off in a general session, use the chat box, listen with an open mind, and engage in collaborative discussion. So we will be going to some breakout rooms, so you have some smaller groups to do some chatting, so you're just not listening to me go over and over again. So Morgan has her information, which we all know here, and she'll jump in needed. So a little bit about me. I am Christine Hessler. I am the Director of Curriculum in RSU 14, which are the Wyndham Raymond schools. And currently, as part of my role, I am supporting our K-12 staff who are teaching 100% remote students. We currently have almost, if I think of today, 600 students who are accessing remote learning. Our remote learning is, and you're going to meet some of my staff, we are actually teaching our students with our staff, with our curriculum and our resources. Our huge goal is to keep our students connected to the RSU. And so when they transition back to school and brick and mortar, they still feel connected. They have the same curriculum, they have the same staff. We don't want to lose anybody. And so we developed this remote school, and that's what you're going to learn about today, which I'm really excited to share with you. I also wanted you to know if there's any resource on here, feel free to make your own, reach out to us. We have everything pretty much on our main webpage at our district, and you're welcome to it at any time. And I say that with the biggest heart I can, because when we started this work, the end of August, we had nothing. We had what we experienced in the spring, and we really truly wanted to build it into something what it is today, and we're really proud of it. So I would like to introduce to you two very special people who have joined us. Richie Vickers is currently teaching social studies, and he is the one with the mustache. Richie is usually our middle school tech integrator. Because of the number of kids, I called him and said, I need another teacher. And he said, what do you need me to do? And so he is teaching social studies to all of our 7th and 8th graders right now. I also would love to introduce Ms. Stokes, Emily Stokes. She is in the beautiful BOA. Emily is a 6th grade teacher, ELA teacher, and she is in charge of the 6th grade remote team. And we'll all be honest that she herds all of the middle school remote teachers together. And she's going to share with you in a little bit some of the incredible ways that they have built relationships for students. And so honestly, anything that you want to know that these two do, I am eternally grateful of these two human beings and all of the thought that they have put into this, how they have problem solved, and truly brought things to the plate to say, this isn't working well, how can we help kids? And so as I go through this tonight, I'm just the speaker. I am in complete awe of what this entire staff has been able to pull off this year. And I'm really excited to share their journey. But these two are the real heroes. And so in order for us to get started, because it is starting to get a little dark, I'm going to hit this link and let's just get into the Zoom this afternoon. And we thought we would start with, let's have some fun with Bernie. So I have to tell you, after the last session, I took the squirrel, rate yourself in a squirrel pose, and I sent it out to the remote team, and you would have thought I sent them $1 million. We had so much fun with those flippin' squirrels. that we decided that we wanted to share with you some fun. And so you are welcome to steal and take and use this with your kids. But let's have a little fun with Bernie. As we were sharing with Morgan at the beginning of this, we started having some fun Friday afternoon after cooking club, which extended into the weekend pretty much, of having fun finding Bernie. Here he is at the Len Libby's chocolate next to the moose. We have him at Gorham High School, but see, Morgan, Lucy Bowers is not here. If anybody else is from Gorham High School, this is for you. Bernie outside of your staff. He's up at Red Eats, if anybody lives up in that area. We also found him at LL Bean, doing a little bit of shopping. And some of you will totally not appreciate these because you're way too young, but we've got the Golden Girls on the bottom and Forrest Gump at the top. But some of us are old, we get it. Some of you will not, but we wanted to share. We also provided a slide if you want to make your own. So you could use those. You know Richie's name now. He can teach you how to make your own Bernie places that you would like to see. So let me come back to here. Oops. So I can get to the next part. Okay. So module 2, our learning intentions. So officially, we're supposed to learn about this afternoon about classroom norms, routines, procedures that are useful in distance learning. And we're also learning about creating virtual and distance learning environments. And so we're going to take some time to explore those a little bit as we move through the playbook. So this is a really important quote that has really drummed home for us, and that decades of research has shown that positive school and classroom cultures are crucial for learning. And recent research has shown positive culture to be correlated with successful moving their classrooms online. If you speak kid, you can do this online. If you truly care about humans, you can do this online. And the two people I have with me tonight live and breathe every word of this. In fact, I want to share a quick story with you. Our assistant superintendent, Christine Frostburton, has been working around the schools and having short little meetings with kids. And she was at Wyndham High School. And it was funny because she was asking students what they liked about school, what things they could improve, really gathering some data for our strategic plan. And so one of the kids had brought up in the high school, they said, I really like how our teachers care about us. And she said, well, tell me a little bit more. And the student went on to say, and many students jumped in and they're like, yeah, the teachers who care about you, and that's what makes school great. And so she said, did you know that there's actually research behind this? That Hattie's research shows that creating a school culture and showing a connection actually drives, you do better in school because of it. And it was just funny how that whole situation came up and the kids were like, well, that kind of makes sense. And they were truly speaking from the heart. They went down there like, these departments do this and these departments don't, and you feel more connected. And they were pretty honest when they were able to speak to that piece. So again, I put this chart in here because we're going to share with you some of the pieces of what we did to help our whole staff understand if we're looking at distance learning, if we all have to go remote, what are those pieces we need to focus on? Because let's face it, in this global pandemic, we have very limited time with students. And so I just offer this graph as a way we can kind of look at the colors, we can look at the pieces, and we're going to address some of those today. And so the topics for the first day's module, this is going to drive me crazy, sorry, are big. Classroom management, establishing norms, link your norms to class agreements, identify expectations for synchronous distance learning, develop and teach organizational and procedural routines, and design a considerate website platform and your first distance class. So you probably wanted to throw up the minute you read that list, okay? But I want you to breathe. And I think this is a message, going back to staff. This list seems huge, but you are educators, and I bet you're already doing many of these things. The key is tweaking what you already do to match the distance learning. And that's why this team that we have is so successful. because we've done a lot of tweaking. We know what good instruction is. We know what good class management is, but what does that mean when we're online? How do we keep that online? And so we're going to connect. So in a breakout room, we're going to take a few minutes to think about and share a statement of your teaching and your learning philosophy. So for example, what are your views and beliefs about how teaching and learning should occur in your virtual classroom? And what are your beliefs concerning community and diversity? So for example, the 6th grade teacher had a great quote, and I pulled this out of our text. I value an environment that allows people to take risks and make mistakes. We are all learning new things, and we are all here to help each other. I think that last sentence is so pivotal. We're all learning new things. The teachers we are all learning how to do this as well. And if we don't listen to kids, we're going to be in trouble. So Morgan is going to put us into a breakout room. And then when we return in 5 minutes, if we could have one person from each group just share out, what is your kind of statement, your philosophy about teaching and learning?
Okie dokie. Oh, Lord, I've got something funky that happened there. Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay, perfect. I'm going to pause the recording. All right, folks, welcome back from the breakout room. Do not see everybody back yet.
Morgan, may I ask what your balloons are for? Inauguration Day?
Yeah, I had my grandchildren here for to watch inauguration, so we decorated.
So Morgan, before I share my screen again, can we have one person kind of just share out from their group, or anybody actually who would like to share on what your philosophy or beliefs are of learning in this remote world? Just we can continue the conversation.
Sure.
I can speak for our group. We had one idea that sort of touched on both the value of virtual learning and also this idea of community and diversity. And that was just sort of the importance of building those personal connections. It's so vital, whether you're in person or whether you're going virtual. But it's important because not only, is this sort of the basis of student-centered, you got to meet the kids where they are at. You need to know who they are. And that's sort of the only way you can make those connections. And so we find that to be, particularly valuable, just as a touch point for both of those.
Thank you. Who else would like to share?
We talked about being organized, clear, kind, flexible, having structures and routines, offering voice and choice, and doing everything with grace, including modeling making giant mistakes all the time.
I love that you had the word grace in yours and that we make mistakes. This is really hard for all of us, including staff, when you're there and technology. And I'm driving to work one day and it's 6:25. I'm getting, text messages, Google Classroom is down. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, punt, what do we do now? It's going to happen, but I think how we handle those situations is extremely helpful for our students. I think there was one or two more groups that could share.
If you want, I'll tell you, group one included Ashley, Bonnie, Kathleen, and Toby.
Well, we talked about taking risks and admitting that we are taking risks too, that we're all stumbling blindly through this, and letting the kids know that we're all just trying to figure it out as we go, and So it kind of levels the playing field a bit.
Emily or Richie, you want to put in a nutshell what we kind of believe? The not the fun, like the fluffy version of this?
All right, the business version,
Yeah.
do what you got to do to make it happen. Just keep the ball moving. So we took a bunch of things that are normal in an everyday traditional classroom, and we figure out how can we make it something that we can collect digitally, or we can have the kids interact with digitally. But what's the old saying that necessity is the mother of invention? We're all needy right now, and we're all inventing all kinds of stuff as we go. So really, I mean, don't be afraid to make mistakes in front of your students. Let them know what you're doing up front. That way they could give you some input on it, because a lot of times, you know, as we're making projects, I'm doing a Maine land regions map right now. We're doing a project, and I don't care what you make your map out of. You tell me what you're going to make it out of, and I'll let you know that it's okay. So I've got kids playing Minecraft during class. Teachers cringe, but they're making these awesome maps, and they messed it up. Go back and fix it. It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anybody else who'd like to share? Okay, I'm going to go back to share screen if that's okay, Morgan.
Of course, absolutely.
Okay, here we go. So thank you for sharing, for being brave, sharing your thoughts. The next piece is establishing norms. And so we know that good norms really need to be created with students. The fewer, the better. If you have a long list of the obviously don't do, so state them positively, make them very specific in nature, post the agreements, and teach and rehearse the expectations. I think that's critical. Sometimes we need those gentle reminders. Some of our staff have put them right on the top of their classroom. Some of them have them on their webpage. They review them with parents. So I thought for this next piece, again, I didn't want to talk the whole time. These are some things that we have had some issues with that we have problem solved. And so when I was looking at these, I thought, I wonder what other people are doing in these times to problem solve these little issues that come up. So I have created a Padlet link, which Morgan will put in the chat in a moment. But I'd like you to go into the Padlet and put any ideas you have or any great solutions or how you've handled one of these 4 things, or maybe you have solutions for all of them. But one is student attendance. We find we're chasing kids all the time. Our 7th grade remote team is up to, I think we'll be up to almost 60 kids. How do you keep track and make sure kids are there, you've emailed, but nobody's answering? Ghosting, that's been a fun piece where kids have, I've remoted in, yes, I'm here, but there's no picture and there's no sound, and tap, 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 class is over, you can leave and there's no one there. What are some of your solutions or your norms that might address those? Student participation. How do we get all our students to participate? We've had some amazing tools that we have already shared in the previous sessions. And then how do you get, if you need screens to be on? I loved the session we did where we did rock, paper, scissors. That was a great tip to have kids at least start with their screen on and then turn them off. But I thought with this Padlet, we could take a few moments and we could write in our pieces, and then we would have this link to refer back to if we needed. So Morgan, would you mind putting the link into the chat for people? Oh, some people already did.
Yep, it's in there. And so great, you're sharing it. Perfect.
Yes. I love Padlets. I used them with 2nd graders the other day and they were blown away. They were so excited to see other people typing and chatting. There's a column for other topics you might face that, you know, I just was kind of thinking of the things with this middle school team that we run across and our high school learners. Obviously, our littles have some other issues as well, but I think it's important. These are the big ones.
If you have any problem accessing the Padlet, ask Richie.
It looks like people have got it. I love that. Grades are for work completion, not being in class. Phone call home. Yes, we've done those. Yeah, these are great ideas. I love this because we all think about, oh, everyone must know about this tool we use, and yet we're all in so many different places that sometimes it's a great reminder of something that would work, or something you may not even have thought of. And so I think this will be great to at least have us go back when you're kind of struggling with some things and add. Padlets, Kahoot. Oh, this or that. I love that discussion board. We have something to share with you fun about that a little bit later. Question of the day. These are great. Yeah, other topics. Yeah, we turning in work on Google Classroom. Parents think it's in, but there's nothing there. Richie and Emily have done multiple parent nights. When issues come up, they send an email out to all families. Hey, we understand some of you are struggling. This is an issue we're seeing. Here's a way you can navigate both Infinite Campus and Google Classroom to get a little bit more. And they hold an evening session, kind of a little workshop for parents, can come and ask questions, and they share screens and help them through that piece. So the Promethean spinner, I love that. This is great. Thank you so much for sharing. And we'll keep this up. It'll be a live link on the presentation so that you're able to access it. So I appreciate that. Thank you. So as we all know, as educators, we don't stop until it's right. And we know that distance learning requires a balance of multiple pieces. Number one is it's student focused. It's about connections and it's about safety. It's about learning is accessible for kids. It's also teacher and support staff, planning for instruction, delivering it on a platform, and by the way, engaging all of our students. That's an awful lot for us to be handling and to do. So how do we get everybody to understand these pieces and give them the tools that they might need? Because just as our students are in different places, our staff is in different places as well. And so one of the things I want to share with you that you're going to get an opportunity to explore is a little bit of a backstory is when we all had this hit in the spring and we all went remote quickly on a dime. We were able to, in May, we had formed a brand new curriculum committee at the board level. And one of the things we did is I reached out to all staff and I said, I would love your feedback on what this spring has been like. And so we gave staff 4 prompts, and anyone could remote in and share, or they could type it up and share it with me. We did a process. And the 4 prompts were, what has gone well in distance learning? What are the tools that have assisted you this spring? And then what are some barriers you've faced in distance learning? And what are some tools you wish you had for distance learning? And so we compiled all that together and drilled down, and we had these big themes, and staff were very clear. There were some things that they really wanted everyone doing. I'm sure like everyone, we had the range of some teachers did 1 Zoom a week and other teachers were on 6 hours a day. And so how do you navigate and have an equal and fair understanding of what it should look like across your district? And so this summer, we built the distance learning modules that I'm going to share with you right now. And this was built with our Infotech team. So we have amazing, brilliant librarians at Windham High School. We also have a tech integrator at the high school. So Kristen, Amy, Tammy. Joyce Babbitt is another librarian, and you'll see her work in a little bit at Windham Middle School. Richie Vickers, myself, our assistant superintendent. We spent time this summer together and built this learning module for all staff. And so like many of you, we had multiple in-service days with the delay of school. And so one of our in-service days was dedicated to please go through the distance learning module so that you're able to see the tools and see what is available. And it basically was an online PD for them to access at any time. And so if you look to the column there are sections, and these are probably not going to surprise you. Even before we knew the distance learning playbook was live, before we even knew that, we were able to craft out a section on environment and relationships, a section on organization and communication, a separate one on planning, feedback and support, and I'm going to open it up so we can see it. So this is the live version. So, and even one on feedback and assessment. Now, remember, we did this last summer, so it's interesting to go back and see, but I wanted to share with all of you what we did, and you're gonna have some time to explore, and just know that you are welcome to access this and use at any point in your own learning. But what we did is we started off with a video of there's the other Christine. If you're in RSU 14, you know there are two Christines. This is my counterpart, Christine Frost-Burton. We did a little welcome back video and talked about the why behind this. All of the topics you're going to see came from staff. They wanted more information, more tools on these categories. And so we talked about, in the limited time, like I said before, what are the things that we should focus on? And so we gave an introduction and talked about Hattie's research. And then we talked about, we built these modules in order to support you. So you can do all of the modules, or you could go back and dive deeper. If you were to do everything in each of these, it would take about 4 hours. And I love this picture here because this is actually Richie Vickers' little son, Wyatt, who was a kindergartner at the time. And he's on Zoom with his kindergarten teacher last spring. Then we found out about the playbook. And so we threw that in there as a resource for staff to know that that existed. And so what we're gonna do is, I'm just gonna give you a little tour. You can pick a module, and what you do is you click the down arrow, and it's going to give you some essential questions. It's going to highlight Hattie's effective strategies in that area. And then you can go through each of the pieces. So all of these things collapse. So we started with big ideas, brainstorm what you can do, how to create a community, how do I support students? So all of these are like nested underneath. Richie was instrumental in sharing with us, here are examples of resources and how-tos to do the platforms or to engage in something. And then what we did is we literally took it to the bottom where staff filled out this reflection. And I really want to clarify, this reflection was not for us or me to check and see if you did the module. What this did is you filled out this Google Sheet and it put your answers about your reflections in that module into your email so that you had a record of what your thoughts were while you were going through the module. So we built one for each of these to go through. So I just want to point out the arrows. So as you're looking, there's all kinds of information underneath. So even before we knew much about Morgan's plan to bring us all together to do this, we kind of built this, and you know, we wanted all staff. So please understand that all staff meant we asked secretaries, we asked ed techs to also engage in this work so that we were all on the same playing field and we all understood what distance learning should be. And at the time we built this, we did not know we were going to have a full K-12 remote team teaching 100% remotely. We built this in case a school had to go fully remote, a grade level had to go fully remote, or all of us had to go fully remote. But one thing it did give us is it gave us the same language across the RSU, and that everybody understood what it was going to take, or some of the things we needed to do to ensure student success. And so Morgan's going to put you in breakout rooms so that you can explore the site. And that way you can also chat with your peers while you're looking at the site. And please know that that link is open to public, so you're more than welcome to take it and run with it afterwards. But we wanted to give you about 10 minutes to really just get in there and kind of see and navigate yourself around in that part. So Morgan, whenever you're ready, we can send people.
Okay, here you go. And remember, you'll have a 30-second warning to come back. You don't have to rush back. We'll bring you back. And here I'm going to pause the recording. Okay, the recording has resumed.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. All right, so we're going to use the chat, and if you could put in the chat, oh, sorry, let me just move this next piece. If you could put into the chat, sorry, what you felt was helpful, and are there any other areas you want to explore deeper in? That would be really helpful for us, and then we'll move on to the next cool part. I hope you find it helpful. Poor Nicole, you've already done it once. April says, so much information. Yes, April, take it, love it, make it your own. Go back to it at any time. The emails are on there of the people that created this. They are brilliant. They get it. There is a lot, and I think it can be overwhelming, but no, it's yours for the taking as well. When we built this, we truly wanted it to be a work that we could share. Because again, we were by ourselves, and it's a horrible feeling. You all know that. Yes, being anchored in Hattie's research, that's where we started from, because I think it was important for all staff to understand as well that the limited time, what is the best bang for my buck? I think our remote team can truly stand and say they really figured out very quickly what was the fluff that needed to go away. What's the important piece I need to touch upon? How can I archive it in case a kid needs to go back? And many of them have said, when I go back to brick and mortar, I'm sticking with my slide decks. This is working for me. I get this. Because we can get all spinning that wheel for so long. User friendly, yes, we're hoping. And again, you can be open, you can be flexible. There are different ways. And we tried to put it in one place. So I appreciate your kind thoughts, and know that, again, anything we have is free to use. And again, we saw a model of one and we said, we like it this way, but it needs to be ours. And, Richie was there on some of those socially distanced days in the Wyndham Library in the summer, and we built and tweaked and built, and any of that team would be more than willing to connect with you and share more information if needed. And we love taking feedback, because that's what we do. We want to make it better. So I'm going to go back to my share screen. I truly appreciate your comments. So now that we're here, we have one more resource for you to explore. And the other piece in that module was really talking about, how do I build a place? And we call it the one-stop shop. So with the Infotech team this summer, unfortunately, Amy and Kristen and Tammy showed me how to make Google Sites with these really cute tiles, is what you're seeing on this picture. And I got a little obsessive, because Richie will tell me that. But because we had so many families going into distance learning, what we did is we built a tile. We actually have it called, we have our own remote school. And so when, for example, today we had more families wanting to go remote, the first thing we do is, please go to our distance learning school. Please check out the grade level tile and all the resources so you truly understand what this is like. And I'm going to bring it up to show you some live. So you can see we have all the grade levels. Our high school is really built from their course levels. And so we have a teaching and learning site, but the teachers at the high school, the families at the high school are directly connected with their teacher. But I'm going to share with you, we'll go to grade 7, just so you can get a look at this. And again, this is on the RSU 14 page. What we do is we try to keep everything updated, but as a parent, I can come here. As a student, I can come here. So this is Cooking Club, which you don't get to hear about that yet. That's coming. But we keep everything up. So this is the open house presentation that the middle school staff did to families when we started. As a new family coming into remote, I can go in and review what it was like when we started to get the background. We have a letter for families. They have video conferencing guidelines. They have the weekly schedules posted. We have our grading practices posted. There's an intro letter. We have library resources, announcements. So we go through and you'll see an opportunity for students to engage in phys ed, music, and art. There are activities posted there. Things like Overdrive. Overdrive is a place for kids to go and virtually check out books. So anything that the kids use, we not only put it in Google Classroom, we put it as a tile here because now families actually have a place to access it. So what we did is we built one of these for every grade level. Emily's is grade 6. You'll see some similarities. She has a weekly learning plan, announcements and homework. So which is great is a parent can go here. They can see this is what we're doing on January 26th. Here are the announcements. Here's our cooking session. Like they put notes in here. And what they've done is instead of recreating it new every week, they're just tweaking every week. But parents know to go here to get the information. We also know, as all of you do, is you can only send so many emails. So this is a way for parents to be like, okay, I'm not reading through the email. I know where to go. Here's the information. It's also been a great place. We had to have one day with a big banner to say, there are some power outages in our communities. Please don't panic. We'll be back online as soon as we can. So we can quickly also send out an announcement for staff. So the link will be there as well, and you're more than welcome to share and peruse all of our sites. Even if you want to get a glimpse into what kindergarten looks like, their daily schedule, 4th grade, all the different pieces. We found that this way was an easy way to keep our families organized with information. So that's this is how we did our online kind of communication to families. So this is example, of, again, this is a 7th grade ELA class for the week. The teacher goes in and goes right to the announcements. When there's some open door times, she highlights things that they need to do. And then when we talk about how do we keep kids organized, predictable assignments. And so this is an example of a reading journal. I thought about the last session we did with those beautiful writing, how to keep kids organized in writing. We've been making digital notebooks, readers notebooks for students, and we're actually starting to use them in grade 2 to grade 5 this week. But this also supports those executive functioning skills. So when you're thinking about kids navigating, everything is in one place. And so what she has done is, these are some examples of them, is each slide, this is a big slide deck that kids work through for the whole unit. And so she has streamlined the work, not only for her students, but also for her special education staff, ed techs who are supporting, parents who are supporting. Kids know where to go, what's on the slide, and what they need to do, and so they can refer back to it. And so it's been a really nice way for her to capture everything and keep her organized as she's instructing her students. And so I just wanted to highlight some of the amazing work that she has been doing. So again, if we think about Hattie's effect size, I was trying to follow our slides, but classroom management is at 0.35. I think in distance learning, it's almost even higher, to make sure you have tools in place to keep everyone organized, because how easily frustrated is a middle school or high school student to be like, peace out, I'm done. Like, I can't find my way around this. The other piece is student expectations. Look at the number on this. This is huge. If students know what they need to do and where their tools are, they're going to be highly successful. And so as we build things, we try to put it in that lens. Is this clear? Is this scaffolded for students? What do they need to do if they're stuck? Like, all of those pieces need to be put in place in digital learning. So we do have a cool pilot underway that I just wanted to tell you about briefly, and it's called Hapara, and you may have not heard of it. We are very interested in this because one of the pieces, whether you're in hybrid or you're in remote, is students are supposed to be working on a certain website, but they're not. And so it might be a little hard to see on the screen, I'm not sure, but this picture is actually a whole bunch of students and the tabs that they have open on their laptop. And so you can monitor where they are. This part in the middle, right here, oops, I can't believe I just did that. Let me go back. Sorry. Let's say that you are working on a site about volcanoes and someone else is somewhere they're not supposed to be. you in one click can close their tab, but you have to choose a reason why it's closed. So you're telling the child, this site is not related to our current task, or this site is not appropriate. So instead of closing a kid out and they don't have no idea why, you use this to tell them, I can see all your dashboards, I can see all your tabs open, and you can manually click. You have all the kids up at once. You can click and close them out and make sure that they are where they are supposed to be while you're instructing them or while they're doing a task in a virtual land. So we're really excited about trying this tool out. Richie Vickers and I will be getting some more training on it. It also, with this extension, is also going to provide families with more of an in-depth report about what's going on in Google Classroom. So we'll actually generate to kids, hey, Emily, you're missing this assignment. Here's the link to it. So you're not chasing kids trying to get them where they need to be. So we're really excited to explore this more and try it out. And we'll share out, if anybody's interested, what it comes down to. Right now it's $2 a student. So we're going to try it out with some of our remote teachers. And we're going to try it and see what we get from it. So the next part is module 3, and this is the student-teacher relationship. So here's, we're going to have some fun. So we know that student-teacher relationship, the effect size is 0.52, parent involvement is 0.5. So how do we merge that together? And we know that no significant learning occurs without a significant relationship. We all know that is true. We feel it in our heart. All of you wouldn't be engaging in this work if you weren't trying to do this. Finding new ways to connect with your students, finding new ways to connect with your families, keeping yourself fresh, learning some new things, because we're all striving to do our best. And so with this work, here are our learning intentions. We're going to learn about the value of student-teacher relationships. We're going to learn about your role in creating them. And we're going to learn about the design of distance learning experiences. So we're going to have some fun with this today. And I just scaffolded a couple things. So we have the peer-to-peer relationships. We found that at the middle level, students need to feel connected. Yes, at the high school level too, but I have my team today from here. They asked for social opportunities. Are we able to check and adjust and provide them with those social opportunities? Okay. And so what we want to do is we want to share with you multiple touch points you can have with kids. This was also in the text that I thought was important for us to bring out. The use of small group discussions, breakout rooms. Morgan was really adamant when we designed this that we weren't just talking to you, that you had an opportunity to go in a breakout room, have a conversation. Pop-up pedagogy, giving weekly feedbacks, for example, websites, giving feedback to kids. We had a whole session on feedback. Tools, oral or written, to connect you with your students, or making a short video to show directions to students. Sometimes that's better if you feel comfortable making those directions. And so we're going to talk really quickly. We're going to ask you to share in your small groups what you've done to build relationships with your students. And then we're going to share in the chat, and then we're going to share with you some of the really fun things we've done in RSU 14 to build relationships with kids. Okay? So, yeah.
You ready to go?
Ready to go. Thank you, Morgan.
Here you go. Thank you. To resume the recording. Well, this is interesting because I'm not seeing Christine.
She disappeared, it seems. She was just right here. We were all talking.
She was in the breakout room. She got booted out. So let's just wait a moment. Christine is coming back in. I think maybe Christine hit the wrong button. I don't know what happened there.
I didn't touch anything. I got thrown out. Okay, so what we'd like to do is in the chat, if you could just share with us quickly, and then we got a little surprise for you. If you could share with us how you've been building relationships with students. That would be great. And then if you could turn your camera on for this next activity. So what have you done? What can you share with us? Private chat, socialize on digital discussion boards. Thank you, Andy. Team meetings, breakout rooms. Oh, Patty, yeah, one-on-one conferencing, putting kids, yeah, jumping around, scavenger hunts. Yeah, April, remote days to meet one-on-one, you know, work with kids, the extra connection, topics of choice, getting to know, check-ins, bring your pet to school. Yes. Office hours, remote lunches, yes. Exit tickets. These are great, great ideas. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so what I'd like to do right now is we would like you all to put your camera on because one of the things we're going to share with you are some of the activities that we do with some of our middle schoolers and some of our high schoolers. And so we'd like you to experience this one. Part of our cooking club, and you'll notice that Richie and Emily have changed their backgrounds, is they run it like the British baking show. So at least 3 times during the cooking club, which they'll share with you, you have to, when you hear a certain music, you have to do your dance. So Richie, could you start us off? So you have to be able, so all of us need to do this right now. Get moving. It's cooking club time. So thank you for engaging. Literally, that is how short it is. But when kids are doing cooking club, which Emily's going to talk to you about, when the music comes on, they're in the background cooking and they're all doing the little jive. So it is priceless when we do it. So I'm going to go back to share screen and we're going to go through these last fun activities and send everybody on your way. So number 1 is I'm going to share our stars. And so Emily is going to share with you, tell us a little bit about the cooking club that you invented and that has become an enormous thing in our district. Em, take it away.
Hi, so I teach 6th grade ELA and social studies. Last year when the whole pandemic hit and we went fully remote, I wanted to do something with students on Fridays just to kind of break it up. We lost that social piece and a lot of kids wanted to do something fun. So just randomly I'd have a couple would come and they'd want to bake and we'd do things here and there. Nothing major, just a very small group of us. It was on my team only. And then this year when when everything came about and once we got started with school and everything, you know, transitioning in and we were finally in a place where I felt a little bit more comfortable and able to add something else to our plate, I put out there the cooking session or the cooking club. And it has just exploded. It's for 6, 7, and 8. And each week I have a page that Mr. Vickers helped me set up. And each week we choose a topic or a
5th through
challenge for
8th.
the kids. Oh, 5th through 8, you're right.
5th through 8th.
Thank you, Mr. Vickers. As the year moved on, we added another grade. And so through that, each week we change the choice of or the topic. Students have 1 hour to come and cook. We also have teachers that come and cook. We also have other professionals, such as Mrs. Hessler will come and cook. We have other grade level teachers that come and cook as well. And we have, you know, the different themes, and Mr. Vickers is the MC. He's amazing at it. And it's just an hour of fun at the end of the week of just kids smiling, making whatever they want to make. Because some kids don't necessarily have the resources at home to make what we're making.
Ms.
So
Stokes,
if they come and they want to make a
I,
yes,
I need to interrupt because you said it's just fun, and it is not just fun. These students have taken it 100% serious, and dude, they put on tools, they clean up their messes as they go along. They are
Mhm.
100% professional. It is not fun to them. It is a competition, but we have
Yep.
fun.
Emily, can you share with
And
us?
you're exactly right.
Yeah. Can you share with us about, I think this is, Richie hit a really good point. Can you share with us a little girl that that has joined cooking club and what has happened because of that?
Yes. So we've been holding cooking club for about a month and a half. She was there every single week. She does have some. So every week she'd show up. She would start cooking food. Her mom would be with her in the background, and she was a joy to have. She'd get involved with it. And about mid December, I received an email from her mom, and the mom explained to me that the child had a feeding tube, has a feeding tube, and that her relationship before um, with food wasn't something she enjoyed. She didn't enjoy food at all, and it was very difficult to find things for her to eat. So over the course of this cooking when cooking club started until that point, she said that her daughter was actually beginning to enjoy food and enjoy making food and being involved in food, in the food that was going in her body. And for the mother, it was something that it had been a challenge for her for years. Um, this child was a cancer survivor, liver cancer survivor, as well as the mother. Um, the so they had similarities through this. But for the mother, she's at the point now where she backs off and the daughter's fully involved. I mean, the daughter she couldn't put things together. Mr. Vickers, what was it you had said? There was something. Oh, explain it to me again. I forgot.
She was having trouble putting a sandwich together. Like she was having trouble figuring out what order to put the things together for a sandwich that first time. But then this last time, I do not remember what she made, but she made a full blown plate. It wasn't just a sandwich. Amazing. Yeah. I'm blown away by her.
And families are involved. It's so much fun. My own high school daughters Zoom in when they can, when they're not in class, to watch the kids and bake together. So I've learned to make Belgian waffles in my office. I made soup in my office so that I can participate, and we feed the superintendent on those Fridays. So the next piece I wanted to share with you, which Mr. Vickers will tell you a little bit about, is there a lunch bunch among us, Mr. Vickers?
There is a lunch bunch among us. So it started off, we do it at 12 o'clock on Fridays because as the remote team staff, that's like all of our guidance and admin meetings are on Friday. So we're booked up until probably 10 o'clock. And then at 10 o'clock, we start meeting with students that are trying to make up work or complete things that they're behind on or get extra help. And then at 12, we cut everything off and we go to straight lunch. We usually have about 10 kids that join us on a regular, and there's a few others that hop in, and we just hang out. We don't talk school unless they bring it up. And if they bring it up, we may tell them to quit talking about school for a little while, but we just hang out. And then one day, this game Among Us started happening and it became ridiculously popular. If you haven't checked it out, it's pretty darn cool. It's super basic. The kids love it. I'm okay with it. I don't get a lot of enjoyment out of it, but the kids love it. It teaches them communication, problem solving, and things like that. But amongst other things, it helped our kids that do not talk to each other during class because they mute their microphone, turn their camera off, and that's all we know. But all of a sudden now we've got these same kids that are talking to each other through this game or about this game while we're eating lunch. And honestly, I sit there and I eat my Mexican food from the little Mexican restaurant down the road, and I hang out with Emily and the other teachers that show up, and the students are doing their own thing. Sometimes they'll ask for a breakout room, but the fact that it brings kids together and they're talking was pretty neat. All grade levels, 5 through 8, hanging out in the same place. And then it bleeds over into cooking club. They show up for Among Us. They find out that there's a little bit of fun going on in the cooking club, and our cooking club has grown because of it. So
Yeah,
next,
it's been nice. I was so impressed by, here's a game middle schoolers are excited about, and they provided a safe place for the kids to play. And they would play with them sometimes, and the kids got more a kick out of watching the teachers on Zoom trying to figure out the game while they were playing.
and if you don't know, AOC did a
not
live
talking about
stream
me, are
on
you?
Twitch because of Among Us, and she was trying to get some of the younger crowd in to come vote and whatnot. And dude, they had a huge success. They raised a bunch of money for one of the charities that night. So Among Us, although you can play with strangers and it turns into a texting conversation, we don't. It's all us. We're the only ones that have the code to get into that game. So it works out really good. Then we've got more things in the works, like Culture Hour, where the kids are going to come hang out and make music or do art or whatever it is that they do as their craft.
We also have our Joyce Babbitt, our Wyndham Middle School. She's doing podcasts with kids. And so she has published all of these amazing episodes where kids go on and work with her and create a podcast on anything that they're doing. The other piece Joyce is doing is a writing club where she is actually, kids are archiving what it's like to live through COVID. And so they have that documented in a way for those kids that really want to journal that will be preserved so that we can, hopefully someday look back at everything that we've been through. Another part we did is we invite the world into our classrooms. And so we did a Lost on a Mountain in Maine project. We had the huge fortune of having Senator King come in the week after the Capitol incident. He read a chapter in Lost on a Mountain in Maine, and he told the students, gave them a little civics lesson, and then shared with him what he loved about the state. And so when we invited guests to come into this classroom, we asked them to introduce themselves, tell what they did, what do they love about the great state of Maine, because the kids were studying Maine along with this book. They would read the chapter to the students, and then they would answer student questions. So we had 3 actually individuals from Baxter State Park who remoted in and told about what it's like at Katahdin. We had Todd Gutner come in and read and talk about the weather. We had Senator King come in. We actually on Monday did our last chapter, and we had the nephew of actually Don Fendler come in and read to the students and share personal pictures and tell stories of Don. And Senator King was so excited about our project and what we were doing. He's asked, with the help of Kelly DeVoe, our communication at the DOE, we're actually taking all of the recordings and putting it together so that any student or any teacher in the state of Maine can access the project and use for their classroom. So we're really excited about taking that. But the importance of having other kids come in to our classrooms. We put out an all district email, and I said, hey, we have all these remote kids. Teachers are looking for people who wouldn't mind coming in for 15, 20 minutes into a classroom and go to a breakout room and give kids feedback on their writing. And so I have compiled a bunch of staff emails that said, yeah, please let me know when the opportunity. And we send that out, and our staff may have a prep period at the high school, but they may Zoom into 2nd grade and hear 5 2nd graders read their writing and give them feedback. And so our children who are fully remote are getting other adults coming in and sharing their world with them, which has been really, really helpful and really promising with our kids. This is also our teaching and learning. We've done a lot with Sora, the online digital platform for kids to access books digitally. We also have Flipster, which is a chance for our students to log in and access magazines digitally so that they can feel like they have the library. We have books that they pick up. We mail some home of great literature. We also have access to films through Sora and Overdrive that we provide with our students so they feel connected to what we're doing. And then lastly, I wanted to share with you Wyndham High School, and I know we're running out of time, but Wyndham High School has delivered this amazing site called Infotech Play. And if you look at the menu, They have a book club, online magazines, Sora ebooks, this or that. First chapter Fridays, I'm bored. And what this is here is a recording, which I'll leave here.
And I'm Kristen.
And Kristen and Amy, these two brilliant librarians that I've been referencing, give you a 4-minute tour of the site. And so for high school folks, this is really cool, and it's open to Wyndham High School. And the collaboration of what they've done and the way that they've kept it fresh is just breathtaking. Students go in, they can navigate the site. And one of the sections is called I'm Bored. And so they post weekly things that students can do that are really thinking outside the box of things that kids could do at the high school level if they're actually bored. They have different polls, they have different things that they put in. There's no way I could do it justice. So I asked Amy and Kristen to make a little video of it to kind of give you the background story and give you a tour of it. And so Morgan, I think if I will put this in the chat so that staff or this group will be able to access it. Oops.
Great, thank you.
You're
Holy
welcome.
smokes, that was fabulous, and clearly you've been working hard, and you have a great ton of things to share with us. So we're very pleased about that, and I want to thank you all. This is very helpful and inspirational. So just by way of taking care of a few last things here, I have posted in the chat what you need to let me see. I've posted in the chat what you need to do for feedback. So you can remember to go on, you finish your feedback, and you download the document for your certificate. The other thing I put in the feedback was something we could do next week. In the feedback, people have been asking for support for accessing some of the tools, for understanding how to better use some of the digital tools that have been presented in these sessions. So what we're going to do is a little conference. So next Tuesday at this time at 3:30, we're going to have an opportunity for you to select a room to go in and just talk with folks who are using tools, see how they're using them. If you've been curious or you have some questions, these are not IT people, these are teachers using the tools. So you can chat with other people who've learned how to use them and maybe in very similar contexts to your own, and they can show you what they're doing in their classrooms. So this is a first for me. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm hoping that this goes well, and then we can continue to offer these kinds of opportunities where you can zip in and get what you need. And yep, I see. Can I give Actum a plug? Go right ahead. Let's hear it.
All right, so Actum, Association of Computer Technology Educators of Maine, sounds like something that you have to be in the tech field to be a part of. It is not. Actum is basically a group of educators in Maine that all want to do things better and make sure we're moving forward with 21st century tools. And if you're a member of Actum, they will also help pay for some of your professional development once you're there. I think it's for like maybe 6 months or something, but it's inexpensive. I want to say it's only $25 to join. They have a conference every year. This year we did it virtually. It turned out really good, all things considered. But Actum has all kinds of support for us as educators in Maine. So I suggest you reach out to Actum.
Great. And I'm going to say that would be another step. So I just wanted to be clear that next Tuesday, we have teachers presenting digital tools. There's a chance you'll be asking a lot of questions that will get referred to folks with greater knowledge. Maybe we'll reach out to Actum itself. But just a context, just a way to sort of get started. I find also it helps to know what questions to ask when you're with someone who has deep knowledge. All right, it's 5 o'clock. It's actually a couple minutes past. I want to thank you all for coming today. This was fantastic. Christine and your team, so impressive. Thank you so much for willing to do this with us here today. For the folks who've been with us on the Distance Learning Playbook journey right along, I don't have another chapter study planned. I wasn't seeing a whole lot of interest in doing something else. I think what we'll do is we'll do the digital tools workshop next Tuesday, have a little breather, and maybe right after the February break, we'll do a check-in to revisit to see where people might need a little extra boost, a little extra support, or something else they're interested in as a follow-up. So to give you some time to apply the practices and all that you've learned. So I'm going to stop the recording here. We're done.